lost without direction. Steps vanish like smoke. Light bends through shadows. Time slows, then slips away. Gravity softens here. The ground breathes low. Something opens wide, holding nothing.
Basically gotta see all they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my thought of it. Start to finish, give all to me. All they see basically gotta see. All they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my thought of it. Start to finish, give all to me. All they see ORL. 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 VSR all day. VSR my way. Real ones only get it. Say less, we straight. 59, never back down. If you didn't know, just ask around. Pull the draft on the front stretch. Turn one, they tap it down. Force the gap with all contact. Feel the adrenaline off that. Under pressure from front to back. Another cup, one and keep it on track. You wanted more, I'm calling cap. Elbows up, come get it back. 50 drivers in the server. Hope you're ready for combat. All they see basically gotta see. All they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my thought of it. Start to finish, give all of me. All they see basically gotta see. All they see racing the part of me. Sim racing my thought of it. Start to finish, give all of me. All they see ORL. All they see.
Hello racing fans, good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening wherever you are, whenever you are listening to this. Thank you so much for joining us for Odyssey Racing League's round 5 of season 20 of GT Americas. My name is Christian Julian. I also go by Koju, and tonight we are at a very popular track. Not a popular camera movement there, but a popular track nonetheless. We are at Brands Hatch tonight for our feature race. It's going to be a 60-minute race with a mandatory pit stop. Fuel is required. Tires are not required, as we are on board already with qualifying at Anique Stapleton, about to cross the finish line with, I believe, their first official qualifying time. It does not actually qualifying them. Actually, hold on, give me a second. We have the incorrect standings up there, but we actually now have the correct standings. So Brandon Ash moving up into the top, the number 69 Mercedes-AMG 125.525. Pretty respectable for a rookie time, if I do say so myself. Shane Sullivan occupying P2, the number 617 BMW. And Ryan Chanley, the number 67 Ford Mustang, taking over the final spot of the provisional podium for the rookies, as they are qualifying right now on the track. We can tell they are the rookies because they do have the red number plates. And as well, on the bottom right of our screen, we can see that under the number 35 next to Adonique's name, there is the AM category next to it. It is, they're called a little different, but this is considered the rookie category at Odyssey Racing League. So Brands Hatch, a great, amazing circuit. In case you didn't hear me, it is in England, specifically West Kingsdown, Kent, England. It is an FIA Grade 2 track. 7 a.m. on the grid for the drivers. 20 degrees Celsius. Ambient temperature and 20 degrees Celsius on the track. That is like a cool 68, like almost 70 degrees Celsius. Excuse me, Fahrenheit. So it's a very nice, cool day on the track. It is partly cloudy, so the temperatures are going to be a little bit more difficult to bring up to temp, but it is a short circuit. There's only 9 complete turns here at Brands Hatch, so the drivers aren't going to have too much time to warm up the tires before they complete 1, if not 2 laps, as they are going to be consistently battling throughout every single corner here as we watch Jade Russell in the number 234 go through Druids, which you can't really tell from we can't really tell from the booth up here, and you won't be able to really see it, but especially if you're down there on the track watching trackside, or if you are driving, actually we can see it on board now. There is a lot of elevation change here at Brands Hatch. So now going through Pilgrim's Drop, we're going to see it actually goes downhill. It's a pretty steep downhill, and then into, I believe this is, what is the name of this turn? This is Hawthorns, into the considered double right-hander of Hawthorns, and another right-hander. All of these are going to be done so fast that a lot of these drivers are not going to have time to think, going down into the dip again, and then up through Dingle Dell, through the Sheen Curve, and now through Sterling's. The only third left-hander. There's only 3 left-handers out of the 9 turns, and that is the third one. Everything else is a right turn. Now coming into the final turn, will Jade Russell improve their time? I do see Shane Sullivan is able to improve the time, so that puts him into the lead. Jade Russell unfortunately hurt me. I spoke too loud, and the commentator's curse strikes again. I am so sorry, Jade. But that is not going to allow the 234 to improve their time, so they're going to be stuck right there in P54 now. Still have, I believe, a little bit time left to complete their qualifying, as the timer is not at over. It is a split qualifying as well, folks, so we do have the rookies going out first, and then we do have the pros and the AMs that will go out as a class together afterwards. Kyle White in the number 251 Fat Aston. Oh, it makes me laugh all the time. Another commentator's curse? Please don't let that be commentator's curse. I keep speaking at the wrong time. I'm so sorry, Kyle. I do also want to apologize ahead of time, racing fans, if you hear me go nasally or if you hear me start changing my voice. I do have a slight sinus infection, so I am going to be sounding a little bit different, but hopefully that does not take away from the excitement that we're going to be having tonight, as well as all the battles that will be happening on the track. So hopefully I don't lose my voice as we see Kyle White go through Sterling's. Take a little quick peek through the bushes into Sterling's and watch Kyle White coming through the last turn now. Kyle White in the number 251 crossing the finish line. Unfortunately stays P9. Oh, no, excuse me. Kyle White is a silver driver, so that's going to be putting him... Oh, excuse me. I'm already, like, confused. The rookies have completed their qualifying time. Kyle White started his lap. That was his first lap, so now he's on his official flying lap. Shane Sullivan in P1 for the rookies, 125.315. Brandon Ash taking P2 provisionally for the rookies, number 69 AMG, 125.525. And then Adonique Stapleton, your championship leader for the rookies, actually. 132 total complete points, 1 win under their belt in provisional pole 3 with a 125.702. So it looks like Adonique is Adonique's gonna have to give the rest of the rookie drivers a run for their money so that they are able to stay ahead in championship points, because the second place driver would be Sebastian Quesada, and he's at 128 points. But I don't believe he's here tonight, so that's going to be counting as a drop round for him. Time's already starting to be populated for the amateur drivers. We're going to keep an eye on Kyle White to see him go through the last couple of turns to see where this puts the number 251 Aston driver crossing the finish line straight up into P1, 125.145. That's a screamer of a lap for Kyle White. However, I feel like there's a couple more couple more tenths of a second there on the track, if I do say so myself. Looking at Kyle drive. Looking over Aguero Martinez in the number 15 BMW for Moon Black race team in P6. Provisionally Drew Jensen in the number 19 Ford Mustang P7 for the American driver in the American Muscle. Looks to be 19 drivers on the track tonight that are qualifying. We do have 6 pro drivers, 5 amateur drivers, and 8 rookie classified drivers for tonight. So it's going to be very, very exciting. 10 minutes and 35 seconds left in qualifying. Drew Jensen coming through the last couple of turns now, eating a bollard or a cone, however you like to pronounce that, but chewing it up and spitting it out as he crosses the finish line. Not able to improve a crazy amount. However, Aguero Martinez is able to improve. The number 15 BMW moves up into P3 provisionally. Michael Cortez, one of the other amateur drivers in the number 716 McLaren for Noobs R Us, P11 provisionally. And we do have Mr. Richard Harknett, the number 66 Ferrari this time. Ooh. I never thought I'd see it. Mr. Richard changed from the Honda. So since he did change from the Honda here at Odyssey Racing Link, we do have a penalty for your car change. You must, or you're given a quali ban basically. So your penalty is that you must serve a quali ban. You are not allowed to qualify. You must start from wherever you're placed on the grid. With the improved time, Michael Cortez moves up into P8. The number 716 McLaren. P8. Your provisional leader, Kyle White, in the number 251 Aston Martin. 124.417. What a qualifying time. Has also decided to hang up the gloves. Decided to end his qualifying run. It looks like Aguero Martinez moving up into P2, the number 15 BMW, about half a second behind. 124 point, or half a second, like, really half a second? Yes. So about half a second. 124.942 for Aguero Martinez. That puts him in a solid P2 position for now. He did cross the line, but I don't believe he improved. There is a sector yellow in the back in sector 1. However, Drew Jensen crossing the line with a showstopper, if I do say so myself. The number 19 Ford Mustang driven by Drew Jensen up into P2. Beating the number 15 BMW by 1/100th of a second. What a time. I'm standing and I'm clapping. You can't hear it and you can't see it, but I'm standing and I'm clapping. What a oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. We can't lose it now. All right, there we go. Now we're good. He's taking a nice little victory lap. So that puts Drew Jensen provisionally P2, Kyle White P1 still. Aguero Martinez moving down into P3. Now it is the pros out to play. It looks like Michael Moletta is already playing in the grass, but that's not where you want to be in the beginning of qualifying, especially if you are out in front. Right now, your leader for the amateur championships, I actually didn't talk about that. I should talk about that a little bit as well. It would be Darth Chemo, or Chemo himself. He is not on the track tonight, but he is in the lead of the Silver Championship, 150 points total. Kyle White, your actual provisional pole 1 driver right now, 138 points total in the amateur championship, so that puts him P2. He does have 1 win under his belt. However, Darth Chemo has 3. Kyle White able to snatch the 4th in a row victory away from Kemmel last week. So let's see if Kyle can actually get his 2nd win this week. Drew Jensen in the number 19 Ford Mustang, all the way in P2 right now tonight. However, in the championships, he is P3, 112 total points, but no wins under his belt. So a win tonight from Drew Jensen could be something in the cards, but I don't want to say impossible, because anything's possible, right? On board with the number 72, Michael Maletta for Baller Squad Racing in the Aston Martin, right at home. Getting a nice little shot. Maybe with some of these angles, you're able to see a lot better the... What's the word? I already forgot the word. Under the Pirelli banner, Michael Maletta goes into the fast right-hander known as the final turn, or Clark curve, excuse me, as the final turn onto the Brabham straight. Michael Maletta in provisional pole, 124.332. The Aston Martin feeling right at home by the looks of it. Robert Rorscha actually making me eat my words, 124.170. Almost dipping his toes into the 123. It is possible. We'll see if any of the drivers can make it tonight. Dean Solomon, the number 59 Porsche, P4 provisionally. 124.782. A really solid time as well. I know it's only 20 degrees Celsius on the track and 20 degrees Celsius ambient temperature, but here in the booth, it is scorching hot. No idea what is going on here or what is happening to the ventilation, but I do apologize. So the equipment is starting to overheat a little. Speaking of overheating, hopefully Michael Maletta doesn't overheat his tires trying to catch up to the number 331 in terms of time. 124.332 for the number 72 here on our screen. However, the leader, 124.075. So less than 0.3 of a second between P1 and P2. Between P2 and P3, less than a tenth. It's literally, it's like almost a 200ths? I do see on my little timer. Ooh, I see purple. I do see purple. Michael Maletta in the number 72. Hopefully, I'm gonna stay quiet so I don't mess them up. Into Sterling, the number 72 goes under the Pirelli banner. Go 72. With the purple time almost up 0.6 of a second. That's going to put Michael Maletta easily in the 123s if he's able to keep the time. The number 72 crosses the line and he gets it. 123.672. That is a really commanding time if I do say so myself, and that puts him right at the top. I got so excited I had to go blow my nose. I'm so sorry. I started screaming and I got all stuffy. So Michael Maletta moving up into provisional pole 123.672. Robert Rochta finally able to dip their toes in the 23s. That's 123.925 for Robert Rochta, but it is not good enough to take provisional pole. Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG sitting pretty in P3. Also very close to the 123s, 124.165 for the number 12 AMG. And we do have drivers still doing a lot better on their times. Michael Maletta still up on the Delta, improving their time, cementing their place on provisional pole, 123.442 for the Baller Squad Racing Aston Martin, and that puts him in pole. So Michael Maletta in pole position, Robert Rochta in the number 331 P2, and Alex Cruz in the number 12 AMG P3. We're going to go to a quick intermission. Please don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back.
Shadows dissolve, colors blend. You breathe and it all shifts. I drift slow, but never alone. The silence stays soft and white.
All right, racing fans, welcome to the grid walk for round 5 of Odyssey Racing League's GT Americas. We're in season 20 already. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. 20 whole seasons. And we ain't stopping yet. The fun keeps on going. 2 minutes left in the full complete grid process for the drivers as they get ready, get their setups complete, excuse me. Warm up their minds, their brakes, their tires, and their brains as they get ready to battle it out for 60 minutes on Brands Hatch. In pole position, the person leading the way, Michael Maletta in the number 72 Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing. In P2, Robert Rochta in the number 331 BMW. Alex Cruz in the number 12 Mercedes AMG for Winwood Racing in provisional, or not provisional, he is pole 3, he's P3. Barely missing out on the podium, the number 26 BMW driven by Bonus Charles in P4. P5, Dean Solomon for Backroad GT Racing, the number 59 Porsche to be exact. P6, Kyle White, your silver leader. However, in a P6 overall, the number 251 Aston Martin, wiggling their wheels, saying hello there. In P7, the man himself, Drew Jensen. It's like, you know how like there's the dude, and then there's the man. Drew, never mind. Drew's the dude. We got the dude himself. The number 19 Ford Mustang, Drew Jensen. P7. P8, Agüero Martinez for Moon Black Racing Team. Desde España. P9, Shane Sullivan, and number 617 BMW. Rounding off your top 10, Brandon Ash, and the number 69 Mercedes AMG. I did forget to mention as well, Shane Sullivan, your leader for the rookie drivers. So for the rookie plates, those red plates, he is your race leader for now. Phil Dixon in the number 85 Porsche P11 for the chromed out purple Porsche with the white stripe there. Layla Martinez in the Kraft Mac and Cheese Baby Shark Aston Martin. P12 for Layla. P13 Michael Cortez for Noobs Are Us. P14 Ryan Chanley in the number 67 Ford Mustang. Jade Russell in P15 Jade Russell. I don't know if my brain felt like I messed it up, but I probably didn't. So if I did, I do apologize. But Jade Russell still P15. Number 234 Ferrari. Jay Paisa. And the number 135 McLaren. I feel like, Jay, I've seen you in a Porsche before. So if this is the first time I've seen you in McLaren, if not, for some reason my brain is going blank and I do apologize. But Jay Paisa and then in P16, behind the wheel of the number 135 McLaren. P17, Bobby Evans. For Evans on track. That's the number 120 Ferrari. Right behind him, it's the man, the myth, the legend himself, Richard Harknett, the number 66 Ferrari. Excuse me, Bobby Evans in P18. And last but not least, Adonique Stapleton, and the number 35 McLaren unfortunately had a due to technical difficulties, was about to retire from the race, but was able to actually get back out on track before the grid walk started. So we welcomed them back with open arms. Welcome back, Adonique. But unfortunately, that is going to be putting Adonique in the back of the bus there. So he's going to be the conductor or the caboose there, making sure that all of our ducks stay in a row. Hopefully the drivers are going to be using this time to warm up their tires as much as they can, because trust me, racing fans, it is going to be very difficult here to warm up your tires at the same time as defending your position. One little slip here in Brands Hatch and you're going into either grass and or gravel, and if that happens, it is going to be one heck of a fight, a battle to to get your tires back up to temperature and your grip back, because this track is all about speed and all about grip. Speaking of speed and grip, we're going to be keeping an eye on the race leader to see if Michael Moletta can hold on with a death grip to the lead. It looks like, I believe so, but we're going to see what happens as the drivers go side by side, getting ready to go through Brabham Straight, and waiting for the green light to drop. All we have to do is wait for the green light, the green flag, and then the racers will start. And there it is. Hold your lug nuts, racing fans, because we go racing. Michael Moletta instantly with the defensive move, pushing Robert Borchta to the left to make sure that he cannot cut off his nose. However, Alex Cruz over there in the back in the number 12, able to get a really good shot and able to get right back onto the racing line. A lot of drivers fanning out coming into turn 2 now. An excellent turn 1 by everybody. Not too much of a crazy incident or bumps. Little bumps and bruises there, but that's going to be it, because racing is racing and bumps and bruises do happen. Tis but a flesh wound, some people would say. Aguero Martinez still in P7. There is a couple of contact flags happening now, and it does look like a couple of cars have lost places, but Michael Moletta is still in the league. Robert Rochester P2, Alex Cruz P3, Bonus Charles P4, Dean Solomon P5. A little battle in the back between Kyle White and Aguero Martinez has now started, as Aguero is able to catch up now coming into Pilgrim Downs and into Hawthorns. Is he able to catch up and able to catch up to the back bumper of Kyle White and make a move? A couple of moves being made, as I do see some kitty litter being thrown up in the dirt. Oh, a squirrely exit for the turn there for Kyle. So we're going to see if the BMW is able to get along the inside. No, the BMW of Aguero Martinez actually elects to allow the Aston Martin to get past just so they can safely get by, and that's actually a really good idea in my opinion. Keeping an eye on the rest of the drivers. Jade Russell now in a battle. It looked like there was some contact there for Jade, but not enough to deter the driver from continuing driving forward. Richard Harknett gaining a couple places, moving up into P16. Jay Pisa moving down into P19. Jade Russell moving down as well. So it looks like Jade Russell's getting a move along the outside. Phil Dixon in the purple Porsche there on our screen making a move in turn 1 from the outside. What a crazy maneuver, but makes it happen. I'm getting more excited than you probably think I should, but that is a crazy move to make along the outside there at turn 1, especially as cleanly as that happened. Wow, my goodness, both cars going off the track now, and that's going to allow Jade Russell and that Ferrari back there to catch up potentially. We do see that gold McLaren of Adelaide Stapleton and Ryan Shinley taking a detour through the signs. Not happy with the signs and the positioning, so he decided to move them himself, moving up or a little bit down. Michael Cortez side by side with Phil Dixon. Phil Dixon making Michael Cortez and pushing him off the track there, making him lose traction. More of a racing incident, not more of a physical push. However, Michael Cortez felt the pressure, the immense aura and the pressure from the number 85 Porsche, and just gave him the spot there. Phil Dixon moving up into P12. What a move by Phil Dixon, and I speak too soon. The commentator's curse strikes, and Phil Dixon unfortunately loses the tail end coming into, that's the turn before Sterling's. So that's the Shanine curve, unfortunately losing the back end, and Shanine curve having to take a quick detour through the kitty litter to make sure that the car doesn't go into the wall instead, but able to regain control, puts it back in between the white lines, and stays in from P12 to P15. Oh, that is brutal. Oh, that is not the camera angle we're looking for, but we're going to change it over here because we're going to be watching Leila Martinez trying to make a move on the number 69 Brandon Ash there. Yes, follow them, camera person. There we go. Nice. All right. Potential contact, however, Leila Martinez using all of the track available to her and all of the skill available to her to make sure that she doesn't run into the back of that the number 69. However, Leila Martinez having to start a little bit farther from the back, but normally we do see Leila in the front, if not towards the front, towards the end of the race. A very consistent driver behind the wheel of the number 924. So I do expect them to finish within at least the top 5, if I do say so. A move made along the inside. Does the move stick? It does. The number 69 watches the move happen and kind of lets it happen. The door wide open. The number 924 slips in. Takes a commanding spot. P8. On board between the battle of Kyle White and Dean Solomon in the Porsche in front. I believe this is a twin-turbo V8 that we are listening to. Squirrely exit for the Porsche. The go-ahead position for Kyle White. The 251 moves up into P5. The Porsche 992 GT3 that we have on our screen, a very nimble car due to the engine being on the back end of the car. So right behind that, or right under that wing, is where the engine sits for the Porsche. So that allows it great maneuverability and crazy slip angles. Dean Solomon's going to have to use all of that to his advantage to try to catch up to the BMW in front of him. interesting. Okay, Dean Solomon unfortunately having some technical difficulties, so that blips him back a spot. That's weird. I don't know why. Maybe he's like in that spot. Ah, that's such a weird. Like just one spot though. Speaking of spots though, fighting for podium spot, Bonus Charles in the 26 BMW. We see him there, almost. Go Gadget extendo arm on the back bumper of Alex Cruz in the number 12. Coming into turn 2 now. Will a move be made into the Brands Hatch banner? It looked like it was almost on. The 26 looked like he would try to show his cards a little too early, unfortunately, and the number 12 just had to just cut off the nose there. Just make sure that the door wasn't wide open like it was for the last overtake that we saw coming into turn 2. I believe the turn is called Druids. But speaking of Druids and magic, Michael Maletta trying to show off all the magic he can, trying to use all the magic behind the Aston Martin, but Robert Roach in the 331 BMW made a move along the inside because it looks like the number 72 maybe ate a little bit too much of the grass or dirt on those tires, and it slowed it down just enough so Robert Roach is able to get ahead. And now we have a fight for the lead. Waiting in the wings is the number 12, Alex Cruz. We can see him there also battling with Bonus Charles. So it is a continuous fight for P1, 2, 3, and 4. Anything can happen here. Any small little mistake from one of these drivers is going to be major position loss. And by major position loss, I mean you're going to be knocked off the podium. Robert Roach to P1 for the number 331 BMW. Michael Maletta in P2 for the number 72 Aston Martin. Alex Cruz P3. Bonus Charles P4. Kyle White P5. Aguera Martinez P6. Still defending from Dean Solomon in P7. P8 Layla Martinez. P9 Drew Jensen. And last but not least, rounding off your top 10, Brandon Ash in the number 69 Mercedes AMG, defending against Shane Sullivan in the number 617 BMW. There was a position change. Alex Cruz was able to get past Bonus Charles. Actually, Bonus Charles was able to get in front while we were off camera, and then Alex Cruz was able to take that position back. A little cheeky move along the inside potentially pushes Alex farther wide on the outside of that turn than he wants to. So along this straight, will the BMW get enough power and slipstream? It doesn't, as we do see the brake lights turn on so that they're able to get a little enough grip for that right-handed turn. Less than half a second between the number 12, which we're all on board with, where we can see that BMW trying to get as close as it can to the big wang of the AMG here. Into Druids, the BMW, no, Bonus can't catch up. A little bit further back, Dean Solomon also potentially trying to make a move into Druids here. Because trust me, if there's a place to do it, Druids is the place to make the move. We do have time penalties as well. I don't believe I mentioned those, racing fans. Those came out at the beginning of the race during the grid process. If they were given out during the grid process, those are success penalties. So here at Odyssey Racing League, if you win a race, you are given a penalty for the next one. So if you are first place, you get 15-second time penalties. Second place, 10 seconds. And third place, 5 seconds. And that is in each category. So pros, AMs, and rookies. You will gain your respective time penalty if you get that place. An interesting bug in the software put one of the drivers 3 laps ahead of everyone else. Okay, really weird, but a blue flag there. So here at Odyssey Racing, that means that you do have to give way within 2 sectors to the drivers that are on the lap ahead. There's a nice little smorgasbord of cars as they cross through Hawthorns, through Westfield, into Dingledale. That's one of my favorite names of turns, Dingledale, and there's a turn, if any of y'all know the track Nordschleife, there's a turn called Hit Miss Hit, which is probably one of my favorite names for a track, or for a turn, just hit miss hit, like you expect to get hit or what? Richard Harknett in the number 66 Ferrari. Wow, I can't believe I'm saying that, Ferrari. Oh, and new machinery for him as well. The Canadian driver trying to use all of the power behind the wheel of that Italian machinery, trying to make it flow like water, as some would say. However, being pressured by Jade Russell in number 234 Ferrari behind him. We're going to see if any moves are being made. Michael Mileto, your new race leader in the number 72 Aston Martin. It did look like there was contact between the number 72 and the number 331, as I do see a contact flag between them. However, this does give us a new race leader in the number 72. I do apologize, racing fans, for the lack of commentary. This sinus infection is not allowing me to breathe. So I have to take extra breathing minutes. Jade Russell trying to do everything in their power to get past the Ferrari with the damage there. That is Richard Harknett in the number 66 Ferrari. A little bit of front end damage there, but nothing too crazy. I also received word from race control that the official pit window is now open. Some drivers must take their mandatory pit stop. Fuel is required for the stop. Tires are not required. So it is up to the drivers, to the driver and their team. It's their discretion, basically, if they want to change tires. Here at Brands Hatch, I personally would advise against it. Do not take tires. You need your tires as warm and as braked in as possible, because you want as much grip here. Brands Hatch, you just want to go, 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 go. You don't want to stop at all. It's just constant driving and turning. And in small tracks like this, the average speed should technically be a lot higher than the bigger tracks, because a lot of those tracks you have to slow down and turn. While Brands Hatch almost feels like, have any of y'all been to the circus and you see the giant wheel, cage wheel of death, and it's just 6 motorcycles just going at it in a circle like that? That's basically what Brands Hatch feels like. All the small circuits basically feel like that. You go in, you find a slot, you slot in, and then you just basically, you haul butt until the end of your stint. Do have already someone in the pit lane, the number 716, taking advantage of the undercut. So they are in the pit lane now. Still on board with this battle happening on our screen. Jade Russell trying to catch up to the Ferrari in front of her. Richard Harknett in the Ferrari in front of her, trying to catch up to the BMW in front of him. While Shane Sullivan in the BMW in front of him, trying to catch up to the AMG of Brandon Ash in front of him. Luckily enough, So nice little train here. Let's see if we can get some heli cam. The number 67 off the track. That is Ryan Chanley. I was about to say Brandon, but no, Brandon's on our screen. I do see Richard Harknett in the Ferrari entering the pit lane. Joining us in the pit lane party. Michael Cortez as well coming out of the pit lane. So he's going to be slotting himself in the traffic there. We can see the dotted white line there on the exit. Signifies that if there is traffic, drivers have to stay behind that. If there is no traffic, the driver coming out of the exit is allowed free reign. That's usually, the dotted line is usually for the cars on track already. They're not allowed to like go within the white lines, or the dotted lines, if that makes sense. Actually, no, I said corrected. They're allowed to go within the dotted lines. It's a solid line you're not allowed to touch. Speaking of solid lines, a solid run for the number 924 with Leila Martinez behind the wheel, slowly crawling her way up. P8 right now for the mac and cheese Aston Martin. Under the Pirelli bridge. This is the battle for the lead of the race here on our screens. A little bit of awkward camera angles. I do apologize for those, but we're going to try to get as much action as on the screen as we can. 2 cars out of the 18 already undercutting the rest. So Richard Harknett on the number 66 Ferrari and Michael Cortez on the number 716 McLaren already completing their pit stops. Their mandatory pit stops, excuse me. The rest of the cars now have to decide when they're going to do theirs. Dean Solomon, Leila Martinez, bumper to bumper coming into turn 1. Now turn 2. Does Dean Solomon make a move? No, not wanting to show his cards. Not early, but if at all. The number 59 stays on the back bumper of the Aston Martin. I think it's not going to be if the move is going to be made. I think it's going to be when the move will be made, and we're going to be keeping an eye on that. As we also keep an eye on the rest of the drivers. Robert Borch just still on the back bumper of Michael Maletta, who is leading the race in the number 72 Aston Martin there. That's the Baller Squad Racing Aston Martin we see on the bottom of our screen. Robert Borch on the number 331 green and blue BMW in P2. Alex Cruz in P3 in the number 12 Mercedes AMG right behind them. Bonus Charles in P4 in the number 26 BMW, defending it from Kyle White in P5 in the number 251 Aston Martin. P6 goes to Aguero Martinez still in the number 15 BMW. P7 Leila Martinez. A little bit of breathing room now from Dean Solomon, but not too much. Still a second and a half between them as Dean Solomon is still occupying P8. P9 is Drew Jensen in the number 19 Ford Mustang. And to round off your top 10, which potentially could not be in the top 10 for long, Brandon Nash on the number 69 Mercedes AMG, as I do see a smorgasbords and a big incident between the BMW and the wall there. The number 617 BMW, Shane Sullivan, taking a tumble. A little bit of oversteer there and just goes straight into the wall. Pow, right in the kisser. Oh. I can feel the damage from here. A couple of more drivers also have visited us in the pit lane, getting their mandatory pit stop completed. Phil Dixon on number 85 Porsche and Shane Sullivan on number 617 BMW. Also, mandatory pit stops complete. Side by side, Kyle White, bonus Charles. As there was an incident with Alex Cruz, now side by side, who gets the slipstream and able to power out more? Kyle White in the number 251, putting a defensive move on and putting the butt of that Aston Martin right in the middle, making Bonus Charles either go along the outside, but Bonus Charles with a really great undercut. Now coming into turn 2, drew it side by side, the number 25 BMW Bonus Charles with an amazing undercut coming into turn 1, able to stick it out and get ahead. P1 for Bonus Charles. Wow, again, what a move along the outside. I thought originally it was going to be a complete and total outside maneuver by the number 26 BMW, but wow, I was surprised with the great undercut there. Now Kyle White having to think, well, do I attack or do I defend? Is Alex Cruz able to capitalize on the position and the slipstream of the number 251 in front of him? Alex Cruz now able to get into the battle, and this is now from a two-way battle into a three-way battle. Oh, wow. This is getting exciting, racing fans. Also, if we look a little bit further down, Jade Russell applying the pressure to Brandon Ash in the number 69 BMW. Trying to break out of the top 10, saying, 10's not good enough, I want better. Jade Russell on the hunt, going down into Pilgrim's Drop. Alex Cruz and number 12 AMG. Into the pit lane they go. Michael Millett and the number 72 Aston Martin has finished their pit stop, and they are now back out on track as well. Still, the fight for the lead continues. Bonus Charles, Kyle White. Both cars not giving any of their opponents breathing room, an inch, a centimeter, a pictometer, whatever kind of length measurement you want to use. Both cars using as much of it as they can, as much track as they can. What a display of race. I was going to say racemanship, but I don't even know if that's the correct word. Of just racing skills. Alex Cruz still in the pit lane. Jay Pyson moving up a couple spots. Richard Harknett able to make the move along the outside of Bobby Evans there. Making that Ferrari stick. Bonus Charles elects to go into the pit lane. The number 26 and the number 251 battling it out. Very tough. However, the leader deciding to go into the pit lane early, so that means we have a new race leader in the number 251, Kyle White. Fighting doesn't stop. Jade Russell on the number 234 on the back bumper of, that's Alex Cruz in number 12. Do you see? Oh, was that? I think that was the 716. Yeah, that's the number 716. Unfortunately, going off track, but no incidents, no yellow flags, so they're able to get back on track safely. The blind cresting turn of turn 1. It's even worse, racing fans, when it's like dusk, like when the sun's setting, and it's right there in your face. Turn 1 is basically blind. It is incredible. It is only 8 a.m., so it's not going to be too sunny for the drivers. The temperature has increased a little bit, about 2 degrees, so it's 22 degrees Celsius, ambient temperature 22 degrees Celsius on the track. So drivers are going to have to keep an eye on their tire temps and their tire pressures, as it does look like Jade Russell unfortunately getting a squirrely exit, and that's going to be putting some breathing room between the number 69 AMG, who we are on board with, and Jade Russell on the number 234. Kyle White, your race leader, dives into the pit lane. So our new race leader is the number 15 BMW, driven by Agüero Martinez. However, right behind him, about a second and a half, Leila Martinez. As I was saying earlier, I expect great things from certain drivers, and the number 924 is one of them, if I do say so myself. Less than 30 minutes left in the official race for tonight. I was gonna say the official feature race, but then that would basically mean that there's a unofficial feature race, but we don't. There's only one, so it's just one. Agüero Martinez in the pit lane as well. So now your race leader, Leila Martinez, in the number 924 Mac and Cheese Aston Martin. Still need to complete their pit stop, however. It's going to be 5 drivers left, with the rest of them have already completed it. 12 minutes, 39 seconds left in the official pit window. So more than enough time to get into the pit lane and get that completed. Brandon Ash, Jay Paisa also visiting us in the pit lane, getting that mandatory pit stop done. So looks like only 3 more drivers left. Looks like the strategy for Leila Martinez is just to stay out on track as long as possible. Gain as much distance as she can from the competition and then get in that pit lane for the fuel. Ed Russell in the pit lane. Only 1 car remains out on the track that has not completed their mandatory pit stop. That is your race leader, the number 924, Leila Martinez. On our screens right now is the battle for P12, Brandon Ash, and the number 69, Mercedes AMG in front, defending against Richard Hartnett and then a 66 Ferrari. The pit window was not completely closed. However, your race leader, Leyla Martinez, dove in the pit lane to get that mandatory pit stop completed. And with that out of the way, that is every single driver on the track has completed their mandatory pit stop for tonight. So with less than 20 minutes to go for our feature race tonight, Michael Maletta sitting in the lead in the number 72 McLaren, excuse me, not a McLaren, that's an Aston Martin. For Baller Squad Racing in P1, also holding on to the purple crown, which means they have the fastest time on track, 1:23.755 for them. Aguera Martinez in P2, the number 15 BMW. Leyla Martinez able to get back out on track in P3 with the number 924 McLaren. Dean Solomon in P4, right behind them with no breathing room allowed. Bonus Charles in the number 26 BMW P5. Alex Cruz P6 and number 12 AMG. All of these, 4 of these cars within striking distance. Kyle White in P7, the number 251 Aston Martin. Robert Borchta in P8 and the number 331 BMW. P9 for Drew Jensen in the number 19 Ford Mustang. And rounding off your top 10, it's Jade Russell in the number 234 Ferrari. All along the inside, Bonus Charles almost into Dean Solomon, and that's going to be slowing down Bonus with the go-ahead move given, or with the go-ahead position given to Alex Cruz, and taking that spot beautifully, I might add. The number 12 AMG sits his big butt right in the middle of both of those cars and puts himself right in the battle as well. I'll move along the inside, potentially being squeezed by Dean Solomon. Dean Solomon having to go along the outside. Also, Bonus Charles potentially eyeing the move along the inside. Monkey see, monkey do, as some people would say. You kind of have to follow the car that makes the move. Just follow it. Just follow them. And sometimes you can slip right on in. Squirrely exit for the number 12 Alex Cruz, and that allows Bonus Charles to potentially get side by side, almost for a 3-way battle coming into turns 2. However, Bonus Charles electing to back out, giving the position back to the number 12. However, Bonus Charles on a run, getting really nice and tied alongside Dean Solomon. Dean Solomon feeling the pressure, having to back out, and now Bonus Charles moving up into P5. Dean Solomon losing 2 spots, now into P6. The number 59 Porsche is going to have to put a little bit more pep into their step if they're going to want to catch up to the 2 cars in front. An early defensive move, I might want to say there. However, no contact. So it's smooth racing still for the battle on our screen. With 15 seconds left to go. 15 minutes and 22 seconds to be exact left to go for round 5 of Odyssey Racing League's GT Americas. We do have a yellow flag at turn 1. That's the number 69. That's Brandon Ash, unfortunately having to go off the track, causing a sector yellow there. But he is back on the track now. And there'll be a couple of spots lost for Brandon Ash. But a quick Pokemon fact. Everybody knows Pikachu, right? Pikachu, also known as the mouse Pokemon. is number 25 on the index. Now, if we were to do the opposite of a mouse, what would be the opposite of a mouse? It would be cat, right? Well, what if you make the opposite of 25, 52? Which Pokemon in the Pokédex is number 52? That's right, it's Meowth. So fun fact, Pikachu's 25 a mouse Pokemon, Meowth the cat Pokemon, 52. Interesting. Watch me be wrong. I'm gonna throw my head through the door, through the ceiling. Also, another quick little fact. Meowth, the cat Pokemon, has a different form where it's basically himself, but just with a beard. And it's one of my favorites. I love it. It's just a cat with a beard. It's more like a fluffy body, but it kind of looks like a beard, so I call it a beard. Moving over to some other battles happening on the track. A wide exit at the Druids for Phil Dixon and the number 85 Porsche, which allows the wide open door that Shane Sullivan is now stepping on in, moving up a position now with that into P11. Shane Sullivan with a commanding move there. Now on the defensive, will the BMW able to outspeed the Porsche, which is getting a very nice slipstream coming down into Pilgrim Drop? Phil Dixon less than a tenth of a second. Bumper to bumper almost. Racing fans, would you believe me if I said I was talking this whole time, but I accidentally muted my mic, and then I forgot to unmute it when I started talking, and now I'm just feel terrible? Yep, that's me. We're back, racing fans. So the number 72, Michael Maletta, your race leader as of now. 6 minutes left in our feature race. The Baller Squad racing Aston Martin, commanding lead about 14 and a half seconds in front of P2, which is the number 15 BMW driven by Agüero Martinez. P3, Leila Martinez, and number 924, Aston Martin. P4, Alex Cruz, and number 12, AMG. P5, Bonus Charles, and number 26, BMW. Right behind him, Kyle White for Fat Aston Racing, the number 251, Aston Martin. P7, Robert Rochton, number 331, BMW. Dean Solomon, the number 59, Porsche. In P8, P9 for Drew Jensen, and the number 19, Ford Mustang. And rounding off your top 10, the number 234, Ferrari, driven by Jade Russell. Yellow flag for Agüero Martinez, the number 15. Now with an Aston Martin breathing down their neck, will Agüero stay ahead, keep composure, and keep the pace up for the last 5 minutes? I did also forget to mention the Purple Crown given to Robert Rochton now in the number 331 BMW, 123.600. They now have the fastest time on track. Leila Martinez with now a 15-second time penalty, interesting enough, moving down into P3. A spot change as well. Kyle White moving up into P5. Bonus Charles in P6. Both cars still battling it out. Bonus Charles eyeing the inside, however, showing his cards way too early. All Kyle White had to do was slam the door in front of him, but unfortunately takes a wider exit than he probably thought. So the number 5 has, or excuse me, the number 251 has to go wide on a defensive move to make sure that the 26 cannot overtake at the prime position there at the bottom of the hill. Or at the exit, or the entrance of turn 3, the bottom of the hill of Druids of turn 2. Now into Pilgrim's Drop, almost side by side. It's a drag race. Oh, side by side. Bonus Charles able to use all of the V6 power, but another BMW slipping along the inside. Robert Roach just smelling blood in the water, throws his hat into it, into the ring, and unfortunately, oh my goodness, what is happening? Oh, big contact actually for Robert Rochta. Robert Rochta trying to sneak in there at the apex, unfortunately biting off more than they can chew, and that spins out the number 331 there as they throw up some kitty litter, trying to get back onto the track. All the dust and debris. Bonus Charles doesn't, it seems to be bumped, a little bit bruised maybe a little bit annoyed, but survives to fight another day. I believe this will be the final lap for the leader. We're keeping an eye on them on the track map, as we still have the number 26 BMW on our screen. They were in the middle of a battle, but unfortunately, sometimes battles don't go the way you want to, and it was put on ice due to the conflict, or the contact between the number 26 and the number 331. But that was race control letting me know that that is the final lap for the race leader. Actually go over to them now and keep an eye on them. With the timer at the top, hitting the big fat zeros. I say Michael, but it's probably Miko Moletta in the number 72 Aston Martin for Baller Squad Racing under the Pirelli banner for the final time. The final turn with the checkered flag in view, and takes the win for Odyssey Racing League GT Americas, and takes a huge tumble into the wall. That's a hard hit though. But congratulations on the win for the number 72. That's Michael Moletto behind the wheel of that one. Agüero Martinez, P2 for the number 15 BMW, but is going to be crossing the finish line as the winner for the silver drivers. The number 15 BMW takes the checkered flag and the win for the silvers, P2 overall. Alex Cruz in P3. We didn't get to see him cross the finish line. However, the number 12 AMG in P3. Leila Martinez, P4 for the number 924. A great finish for the Aston Martin. Kyle White, P5. Bonus Charles, P6. Dean Solomon, P7. Robert Borchett, P8. Dean Solomon, P9. And Shane Sullivan actually backwards. That's not a great place to be, Shane, but Jade Russell in the number 234 Ferrari, going across or past the last turn, over the finish line, through the checkered flag. P9 for Jade Russell in the 934. However, your winner for the rookie category, Jade Russell. And that is an amazing race, if I do say so myself. So Agüero Martinez, Michael Moletto, your race winner overall. Agüero Martinez, P2. Alex Cruz, P3. And then your category winners, I guess. Your pro winner, Michael Moletto. Your amateur winner will be Agüero Martinez in the number 15 BMW. And your rookie winner, the red plates, Jade Russell in the number 234 Ferrari. And that's going to be it from us here at Brands Hatch. I'm going to send it back to the main studio. We'll be right back. That's going to be it from us here at Odyssey Racing League. Season 20, Round 5 in the books. Your race winner, Mikal, please message me. I've probably been saying that wrong this whole season. Let's actually lower the music a little bit there. But yeah, I've probably been saying your name wrong the whole season. I do apologize. But your race winner, Michael Moletto for Baller Squad Racing. What an incredible race tonight. That is Odyssey Racing League's GT America's Season 20 Round 5 in the books. That means there's only one more round to go. So technically this would have been the final round. However, during this season, we had round 4 Misano during the American holiday of Thanksgiving. So that round was actually pushed to the end of this run. So next week, we do have one round left of Odyssey Racing League GT Americas. It's going to be round 6, the final round. All the way into Italy we go, to arguably my favorite track in ACC, and a very underrated one if I do say so myself, Misano. Same time, same place here at youtube.com/Odyssey Racing League. 7 p.m. Central Time, or excuse me, 8 p.m. Central Time. My name is Christian Julian. I also go by Koju, and on behalf of Odyssey Racing League, thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Goodbye. Goodbye. Goodbye.